Hey everybody, and welcome to your Yin Yoga practice. I am your teacher, I'm Katie, and this is legs 4 ways. So a nice short still practice that will stretch all 4 sides of the legs. The front into the quads, the inner thighs and groin, the outsides, the IT band, and of course the back, the hamstrings. Make sure you have a couple of cushions if you need any support, and we'll make a start just as I am, seated when you're ready. Once you find a comfortable seated position, just let the eyes fall closed. Sit up nice and tall, feel the shoulders drop back and down, and just enjoy a few breaths. Let these breaths release you from any busyness in your mind and any busyness in your body. Starting to bring your attention from the outside to the inside. Just another couple of breaths, using the exhale just to become present into your practice and start to embrace the stillness. Take one final deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale. Fluttering the eyes open. Moving to our first shape, we'll come into saddle pose. So taking your time, just make your way onto your knees. And you might want to move your cushions to the back of your mat and have them just behind you. You can use a bolster. If you've got a bolster instead, make sure it's long ways down your mat. Have the knees a comfortable distance apart. Make sure you're not crossing over the feet or overlapping the toes. And for now, let's just lean back on the hands. So this is a really nice, gentle way to stretch out the front of the thighs. Feeling a little tuck of the tailbone, maybe lift those hips to scoop the tailbone under before relaxing your bottom back towards your heels. And if this is enough, then just stay here resting on the hands. A couple more deeper options is to drop onto the elbows, or perhaps as the cushions are there and you have them to hand, just gently resting the upper back and the head onto your cushions. So this will feel a little bit like a back bend as well. So take your time finding the shape. Make sure you're not compressing the lower back at all. And then just relax the hands. And once you arrive into your shape, just start to melt into the floor. And feel the breath expand all the way across the front of the body. From your kneecaps all the way to the chest. So we'll be spending a couple of minutes in each pose. And that gives us enough time to open and release the muscles and the joints. But it also allows us just enough time to kind of relax mentally as well. Stay with a nice soft breath. Nearly there. Just enjoying the stillness and enjoying this pause, easing yourself into your yin practice. This one is a really nice one if you do a lot of running or a lot of cycling. If you're maybe a lot of walking, you use the legs a lot. This yin practice is going to be a really nice one to revisit whenever the legs feel a little tight. Last 30 seconds or so, handful of breaths. Just really soften into the shape. Taking that final breath in. Pressing the ground away. Start to ease yourself up. Take your time. Just leave the cushions where they are for now and just go forwards into your tabletop. Come onto the hands and the knees. Adjust the legs underneath you and maybe just stretch one leg back at a time to release the knees, release the feet. Do that as many times as you need. Moving from the tops of the thighs, we'll then look at the inside of the legs. Sitting on your bottom, the legs around in front of you. Take the feet nice and wide, moving into a wide leg shape. We're going to take this into our wide leg folds, focusing on the groin and the inner thighs. Couple of options. If you have quite tight legs, you might want to sit on a cushion. Just that little bit of height under the hips will help with the forward tilt of the pelvis. If you're pretty comfortable, you could always just bring the hands to rest in front of you. This might be enough. You might be able to drop down onto the elbows or any closer to the floor, relaxing the legs. A nice option if you're kind of somewhere in between, perhaps you need the floor a little closer, you could grab your bolster or your cushions and just come to rest the elbows on the cushions instead. If you're pretty flexy, you could always rest your chest on top of the cushions as well. Picking whatever support that you need in order to maintain this shape. Let's go for 2 minutes. Perhaps closing the eyes, relax the toes, the kneecaps. Soft breath once again, and just starting to surrender to the shape. Letting go of any muscles that you don't need to be holding on to. Soften that space between your eyebrows, relax the shoulders. Trying not to fidget, just stay relaxed. Just focus on the simple act of breathing. If everything's a little bit busy, really want to try and encourage you just to embrace the stillness. A couple of minutes, it's not a massive amount of time, so just really see if you can pause, if you can stop. Sometimes that is the hardest challenge of a yin practice. You're doing really well. We got about another 40 seconds or so. Can you release a little deeper into the pose? Taking that final breath in. Slowly start to lift on up. Use your hands as support. If you have anything in front of you, just move it off to one side. Using your hands, bring the legs together and just give yourself a hug. Wrap the arms around the shins. Tuck the chin to the chest. Maybe add a gentle little rock and just feel that compression into the back of the legs. When you're ready, we'll meet in tabletop. Come to your hands and your knees. Moving from the inner thighs, we head to the outer thighs into the IT band. For this, we're going to visit swan in our yin practice. You might know it as pigeon pose. Bringing the right knee behind the right wrist, sending the toes over to the left-hand side. Slide the left leg long behind you and untuck the toes. Take a moment to arrive into the shape, sitting up nice and tall. Make sure you're even between both legs. If the right hip is quite away from the floor and you feel a little off balance, or maybe you're leaning over to the right hand side, you could always grab a cushion or two or a block and just place it underneath that right hip for a little bit of extra support. When you're ready, start to fold the tummy down over the legs, releasing onto the elbows, or maybe dropping the chest and the forehead all the way to the ground. Closing your eyes, come back to that nice easy breath. So the rotation of the front thigh allows us to access through the outer hip and down into the IT band. That is the band of muscle that runs from glute towards the knee. This one can get really tight if you are quite active with the legs. So just allowing the tummy to soften. Tummy and legs are kind of intrinsically linked, so if you relax the tummy, the legs often follow. One more minute here. Coming into the final 30 seconds, can you just melt your heart a little closer towards the ground? When you're ready, start to ease your way out of this shape. Nice work. Just coming up onto the hands. Scoot your left knee a little in towards the body and let's go back to tabletop. Releasing the right leg and just stretch it out behind you. Maybe move any props out the way for now. Stretch that right leg behind you along the floor and maybe just gently roll forwards and backwards. Taking it to the second side when you're ready. Left knee goes forwards, toes over to the right as the right leg slides long and straight behind you. Again, adjusting the shape however is needed, supporting with a cushion or a brick under the left sitting bone as required. Take a breath in, make sure you're kind of nice and square between both legs. On the exhale, start to bow forwards, dropping the head towards the ground. Coming to the elbows or any lower to the floor. Your yin practice is a really nice opportunity, especially if you do a lot of vinyasa or if you generally have quite a dynamic practice. It's really nice to introduce just moments of yin practice just to balance out all that energy, perhaps challenge your practice in a different way, and of course explore a different kind of flexibility, working with breath and stillness and holding poses for a prolonged period of time to deepen your flexibility. Perhaps this is an opportunity, just a short break in your day to give your head a little break as well. Nothing to think about, nothing to do, just the simple act of breathing and melting into a shape. Doing really well. Keep breathing, last 45 seconds or so. Last couple of breaths. And then pressing onto the hands, slowly start to rise on up. Take your time, and this time, however is most easy, let's meet sitting down. So just lean off to the left, bring that right leg around to the front, release both legs out ahead of you. Maybe just go for a little kind of tap into the knees. Nice option from here, perhaps a little windscreen wiper with the thighs. So our last shape, we've moved from the front to the inside to the outside. We'll now come to the back. So we're just going to take it into caterpillar or seated forward fold. As we did with our wide leg seated forward fold, if you need a little bit of tilt, extra tilt for the pelvis, sit on a cushion or maybe a block. Legs nice and straight out ahead of you. Reaching the arms forwards, just bring one hand either side of the legs, dropping the head down. And if you do feel like you're a little bit unsupported and it's not that comfortable, not a shape you could sustain for your 2 minutes, feel free to bring a cushion or two on top of the thighs to fill that hole. Arms go over the top of the cushion and you rest the chest and the tummy down. If you're pretty flexy and your head is quite close to the legs, you might slide the cushion down to the shins and use the cushion as a pillow under the head. Once you find your shape, just start to relax. Letting the upper body hang over the lower body, relaxing through the feet, through the kneecaps. And you want to feel as though any tension, any final tightness is just easing out of the body. It's just seeping out the legs into the ground. Final minute here. Using these last few moments to completely chill out, to just stop moving, stop thinking. Last big breath in. And let it go. Taking your time, start to lift your head. Nice work. Lean back. Lose any props from the top of the legs and just have a little wiggle. Bending into the knees. Just roll right and left with the legs. Twist that out. I would like to give the option, if you would like Shavasana, feel free to lie down, make yourself comfortable and enjoy a few more moments in relaxation. Otherwise, we'll finish this practice just seated how we started, with a nice deep inhale through the nose. In your own time, and a nice exhale out the mouth. Sealing the lips. Just take a moment to notice how the legs now feel. And to bring your practice to a close, thank yourself for the time and the energy you've given. Palms together at the heart center. Namaste. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. A couple more yin yoga practices, short and sweet, coming up for you on my channel. Keep an eye out for them. If you need me, please drop me a comment, get in touch, DM me on Instagram at Katie Silves. If you aren't already a subscriber, I would love for you to just click the button and feel free to share all my videos with friends and family. Let's spread the love of yoga. Thank you for being here. Until the next time, I will see you soon.